glad you're here, and today I will show you my Blue Eyes deck build. So this is a real life deck, and I'm missing some of the cards. There are some at my friend's place, some in the other decks which are not at my place, and some are still on their way by the post. So I will show you my Blue Eyes White Dragon deck, my main deck and my extra deck. So first cards I run are 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. They are the main engine of the deck, and they are a perfect beat stick for all other monsters. There are not many monsters stronger than them. They are easy to summon like they are. So after 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, I run 3 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragons. I have one ultra rare copy of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon in English, one gold rare in German, and one gold rare in Italian. So I'm pretty proud of my collection of languages in these 3 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragons. They are just as a Blue Eyes White Dragon. They can be summoned by revealing a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my hand. I can only summon one of those per turn, and once per turn I can target one monster on the field, one face-up monster. No, I'm not sure if it has to be face-up. I can one monster, so it doesn't even have to be face-up, and I can simply destroy it. But my Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon cannot attack the turn that that effect was used. Then there's Dragon Spirit of White. This card is always treated as a Blue Eyes card, and it is treated as a normal monster while in my hand or while in the graveyard. So this card can tribute itself to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my hand, and I can banish one spell and trap card my opponent controls once I normal or special summon this card. Then there's Effect Veiler. This card is in another deck, and I'm trying to get another one. So this card, I can discard this card. Okay, that sounds stupid, but yeah, I can discard Effect Veiler from my hand to negate all effects of one monster on the field till the end of the turn. Then I run Maiden with Eyes of Blue. She's just a perfect card for the style I'm playing, because I run one Master and 3 Sages in this deck, so I can target her with my own effects and summon 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons at once. Also, when she is targeted for an attack, I can switch her battle position, negate the attack, and special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my hand, deck, or graveyard. Then there's Master with Eyes of Blue. I can, when I normal summon this card, I can add one level 1 Light Tuner from my graveyard to my hand, excluding another copy of him, I believe. And once he is in the graveyard, I can target an effect monster on the field, destroy it, and special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my graveyard. Then I run 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. I don't have those yet, so I can show you the picture right now, but I know his effect, and I will show the picture in the video. Well, I'll try to somehow put it in. So Sage with Eyes of Blue, when he is normal summoned, I can add one level 1 Light Tuner from my deck to my hand. So I can add Effect Veiler, Maiden with Eyes of Blue, Sage with Eyes of Blue, White Stone of the Legend, and White Stone of the Ancients from my deck to my hand when he is normal summoned. And once per turn I can discard him from my hand, target one effect monster on the field, destroy it, and special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my deck. Then I run 3 White Stone of the Ancients. Sorry, this 3 White Stone of the Ancients. So this card, once this card is in the graveyard at the end of the turn, because it was sent there this turn, I can special summon one Blue Eyes monster from my deck. Also, I can once per turn banish one copy of White Stone of Ancients from my graveyard to add one Blue Eyes monster from my grave to my hand. So I can add Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, Dragon Spirit of White, and even synchro monsters in my graveyard. Then there's Whitestone of the Legend. When this card is sent to the if this card is sent to the graveyard, I can just add one blue-eyes white dragon from my deck to my hand. That's why this card is played mostly with cards of consonants. I mean, its picture is on the cards of consonants. So those are all the monsters in my deck, and I will now be getting into spell cards, just to pick up these cards. Also, Whitestone of Ancients are at my friend's place. Okay, so those are monsters. Now, for the spells, I run 2 cards of consonants. I can discard one level 1 dragon type tuner with less than 1000 attack and draw 2 cards. Then there's 3 dragon shrines. This card allows me to remove 1 dragon from my graveyard and from my deck and send it to the graveyard. And if that dragon was a normal monster, I can send another dragon from my deck to my graveyard. It works great with combination. I send Blue Eyes White Dragon, and after him I send Whitestone of the Ancients. I can also send Dragon Spirit of White. He's also treated as a normal monster as soon as he hits the graveyard, to once again send Whitestone of the Ancients. Then I run 1 copy of Dragon's Mirror, which is also at my friend's place. I have Dragon's Mirror in my deck because I have Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and Blue Eyes Twin Burst, which is also not with me at the moment. This card allows me to banish materials from my field or from my graveyard to special summon one dragon fusion. Then there's Foolish Burial. I put this card in my deck just so that I can send my Master to the graveyard and my Whitestone of the Ancients to the graveyard. So after Foolish Burial there goes Mystical Space Typhoon, which I will replace with Twin Twisters as soon as I get my hands on this new Dino Smashers Fury deck, what is it called? On this new Dino Smashers Fury deck, structure deck. Then there's 3 Return of the Dragon Lords. This card is basically Monster Reborn, but just a tiny bit better. So I can activate this card to special summon a level 7 or level 8 dragon type monster from my graveyard, and I can also banish this card from my graveyard to prevent destruction of any number of dragons. Then there should go Solar's Cry, of which I still need to get 1 copy. So Solar's Cry is a quick spell, which means that I can activate it on my opponent's turn, and also it can be used only once per turn. It allows me to special summon a normal dragon type monster from my graveyard. Then there's Soul Charge, which I mostly use when I'm going first, using Dragon Shrine, Foolish Burial and Cards of Consonants. I fill my grave with dragons, well, monsters, not dragons in particular, and then I activate my Soul Charge, waste 4000 life points, fill the field, and then go into Synchro Summons, Contact Fusion for Twin Burst, and I can also go to Xyz, which I will show you my Xyz monsters later. Then from spells there goes 3 copies of Melody of Awakening Dragon. I can discard one card to add to my hand 2 dragon type monsters with 3000 attack or more attack and 2500 or less defense. So with this card I can add my Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, or if you're playing a Chaos Max version, you can add the Chaos Max Dragon to your hand. Then there's 3 trade-ins. Since I have 8 dragon type monsters in my deck, this card is really good and allows me to draw more cards. And then I run only 1 trap, Solemn Warning, which is pretty cheap as of the moment when I'm recording this video. So I just have to order 1 copy of this and it will arrive in I don't know, few days. So I will show you some Blue Eyes combos right now. Let me just return these cards in the deck. I will shuffle it. Oh, I forgot my extra deck. Okay, so first I run 2 Blue Eyes. I will run 3 as soon as I get the third copy, but I run Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So this version is in German, so I can't read the exact text, but its effect says that when it's alone on the field, I can send another Blue Eyes fusion from my extra deck to the graveyard, and this card can attack once again. I can use that effect up to 2 times in one turn. Then, when it's in the graveyard, and there is an effect that targets a Blue Eyes monster in the field, I can banish it and negate the activation of the effect. Then there's Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. This card can make up to 2 attacks on my opponent's monsters, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. And once it battles and an opponent's monster isn't destroyed, I can banish that monster. So no cost, and I can attack once again afterwards. Then I run 2 Michaels, which I will reduce to 1 as soon as I start missing some space in my extra deck. So Michael is mostly used to summon what is it called? Just a second. Crystal Wing Dragon, which I don't have, but it still has a good effect. I can pay 1000 life points to banish any one of my opponent's cards in the field once per turn. Then there's Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. I can use this dragon's effect. So when it's summoned, I can straight up compulsory one of my opponent's special summoned monsters to their hand. And if it's on the field the turn after it was summoned, which I don't tend to leave it on the field for that long, but I can bounce any other monster back to their hand which was special summoned once per turn if it's level 5 or higher, I believe. Yeah, level 5 or higher. Then there's 2 copies of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. So this card has a pretty good effect. Once it's in the when it's in the field, I can tribute it, and it's a quick effect, so I can tribute it at any time to special summon any dragon type light synchro monster to the field in the defense mode. That dragon is destroyed at the end of the turn, but if it's Azurize, it protects itself, and I can protect that dragon with Return of the Dragon Lords. Also, when this card is in the field and my opponent activates an effect in the graveyard, I can negate the activation once per turn of an effect in the graveyard. Then for my last synchro monster I will try to add a Crystal Wing in here, but I don't think that will be possible. Yeah, that's why I don't have it proxied. I proxy only cards that I know that I will get. So here's Azurize Silver Dragon. This card when this card is summoned, all dragons I currently control cannot be targeted or destroyed by other cards' effects until the end of the next turn. So during my opponent's standby phase, I tribute Spirit Dragon to summon Azurize. Azurize cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects until the end of my next turn, so my opponent cannot remove my Azurize Silver Dragon with an effect, but my opponent can only run him over if he has a monster which has more than 3000 attack. Also during my standby phase, Azurize Silver Dragon special summon a normal dragon type monster from my graveyard. So I basically can get 1 Blue Eyes or 1 Dragon Spirit of White in the field every standby phase while he's still on the field. Then for my Xyz monsters, of which I tend to use 2, well, I have 2 of them. So first is Lancelot. Lancelot is sometimes the MVP of this deck, because when I summon him, I tend to summon him at the end of my main phase, so that I can afterwards attack my opponent directly, because it still has material. and destroy one of his face-up monsters on the field. I can also, I must negate the first effect that activates in the turn. So, for example, if I summon Lancelot and I attack directly, my opponent activates Mirror Force, I have to negate Mirror Force's activation. So my monsters aren't destroyed, basically. Then there's number 40 Draglon. So this card is at my friend's place, he's using it in his deck. Draglon, when he's alone on the field, I can detach a material to special summon a dragon type monster from my hand, or I can detach material to take control of my opponent's dragon, or I can detach material to negate all of my opponent's dragon effects until the end of his or her turn. So yeah, that's my extra deck. Now I will show you a few combos with this deck. So, best combo you can have is 1 Blue Eyes, 1 Alternative, 1 Maiden, Sage, and well, the best card to have in this situation is Dragon Shrine. So what you try to do here, first you reveal your Blue Eyes to special summon Alternative, then you normal summon Maiden. Activate Sage's effect, send him to the graveyard, then Maiden's effect triggers, Maiden special summons Blue Eyes, best to summon one from hand, and effect of the Sage, he special summons another Blue Eyes. Then activate Dragon Shrine, send to the graveyard your last Blue Eyes, and Maiden was destroyed, and Whitestone of the Ancients. So yeah, you basically have 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons on the field, turn 1. Now you can end your turn, go into Lancelot, and choose not to activate effect of the Whitestone of the Ancients in the graveyard, or if you activate it you will have to negate it, just keep that in mind. And if you negate it and your opponent activates another effect during his or her turn, you have to detach and negate it. So keep in mind, you negated detached 1, you negated your opponent's effect detached 2, and on your turn you just have a monster with 2000 attack points. So it basically, Lancelot can't do anything 2 turns after it was summoned. So one thing I would like to do now is I will shuffle my deck. I will do a bit of power shuffling. This part gets a bit tricky. So the deck is pretty good shuffled, so let's say my opponent cut it, and let's say that I went second. So there are 6 cards at the top of my deck. First, Solemn Warning, second, Soul Charge, Sage, cards of Consonance, another Sage, and another Sage. Okay, I've had this hand before. So you first summon Sage, then from your deck you search out Whitestone of the Ancients to your hand. Then activate cards of Consonance, discard Whitestone of the Ancients, and then let's say your opponent cuts it again, then draw 2, and you got your basically perfect hand. With the effect of Sage, you discard it, destroy the Sage in the field, and special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck. Then activate the effect of the Melody of Awakening Dragon. You can discard pretty much anything, so best to discard Soul Charge because later it just clogs your hand. And you can add to your hand one Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon and one Blue Eyes White Dragon. So you summon Alternative by revealing your Blue Eyes. You wasted your normal summon already to summon your first Sage, which you added Wisdom of the Ancients to your hand with. Then you're going second, so your opponent probably has some monsters placed on the field. You can activate Alternative's effect to destroy that monster, or you don't have to, depending on what the monster is. You go to XYZ, summon Draglon. Since Draglon is alone on the field, you can detach a material. I'd recommend detaching a Blue Eyes to special summon another Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand. So you have two monsters with 3000 attack on the field. What you can do anything what you can do is set this card after the battle phase if your monsters are still on the field, of course. Set Solemn Warning, and at the end phase, effect of the Wisdom of Ancients triggers. You can special summon your Dragon Spirit of White and banish something in your opponent's spell and trap zone if he has anything. If not, just summon another Blue Eyes from your deck. That's the most basic play with the hand I got. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!